What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, cloud swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Hope you guys are feeling good. Hope you guys had a good weekend and ready to go. We got a brand new week. I think we got how many more trading days? We got this week and next week, I believe. Hold on, let me see. What do we got left? We got a week and 2 days left. Okay. They promised me that September was the worst month of the year, so I don't know. We just closed relatively at all-time highs on Friday, which means if that is going to happen, we should have we gotta have a sell-off soon. Uh that would be we got 8 days of straight selling, and that would kind of probably get us into a slight pullback. I don't know, but so far, market looks really, really strong. Today's gap open, not so great. We are below the opening price of yesterday. We're below, or Friday, we're below the VPOC, which is somewhere around 662.68. That's going to be my resistance for today. And then we should have a little support, which that would take us into roughly 661.04. But we've been there before. Maybe we could take that out. And next stop would be 658.46. I'm not sure. But what I am sure of is we got Alan in the house. Good morning to you. Good morning to Amy, Andy, Bill, Brad, Christopher, Cindy, Emily, Joe, John, Kevin's in the house. Good morning to you. Good morning to Lauren, Lucian, Marius, Martina, Mike, Natalie. Good morning. We got Ray. Good morning. We got Rob, Ross, Steve, T Flows in the house. Good morning, Tim, Virginia, William, all my people out in YouTube land. Good morning to Hostel. We got all my lurkers in the background of YouTube. I'm just not gonna say nothing all day. It's okay. I still love you. Hit that like and subscribe button, and yeah, we'll see how this market wants to go. But there's been no pullbacks, not yet. Also, one thing to consider too when looking at today's price action, how we close, I think is gonna be a little more important. I'm gonna put very little weight on that Friday candle, just because we did have quad witching. So you have your dailies, your weeklies, your monthlies, your quarterlies all expiring at the same time. We know that you get some weird, strange moves at the very beginning of the day, at the very end of the day, and yeah, we'll see where they want to push it from here. That means that there is a whole new opportunity. So if somebody's sitting there going, you know what, this market's too high, I just made money on calls. Why not try to put a little bit on puts and try to hedge or take out a put contract for the next 3 months? Now's a good time to do it. They're not counteracting their plays. You do have some really good risk reward. You could probably throw some up there, or just again, if you have it for insurance, you don't really mind losing a little bit of the premium on the puts if the rest of the portfolio does want to skyrocket higher. So we'll see. Lucian says I broke down and closed all my SoFi calls for 1K plus percent gain, even though the X verse is calling for 100 shares. Yeah, I that's a that was a big move. I get it. I get it. Uh, I would like a pullback, not for the overall portfolio or just to the crazy thing though. Here's the cues, right? So I'm like, yeah, I wish we could get a pullback. Technically, you had one here. It was just very quick, very small. But there was a certain point during that day where it's like, okay, this thing might maybe this is it. And we got a very small one, but you had good volume with it. That's enough to catapult stocks higher, so or indices higher in this case. Same thing here. You had a very, very small pullback, right? Crazier, bigger volume there, indecision. So you had a little pullback. You had a little pullback on that gap down that looked kind of rough. Not a great opening price on it. And once you see that move, once you see the volume come in, this one that was a gap up, big volume on a retest. As soon as we start breaking that out, that takes us on that next push. So fundamentally, or technically at least, we're still sitting pretty good where we have a lot of bullish momentum coming in, but not a great open for today. Again, we'll see where that VPOC is if we start to get especially some closes above it. We'll see on the cues, but I don't know if we went over the support resistance on this one. Otherwise, you have your VPOC from Friday that is 597.70 on the way down. If you get this. a little bit more of a pullback. 596.23, we've already been there. If that one starts to break, besides some psychological levels, I think your next spot would be a full-on retest back down to 590.85. So you do have some room on Qs if we get that pullback. We'll check out Bitcoin, BTC, USD. Craig is a lurker. All right. We got Bitcoin is you can't identify yourself as a lurker because the act of you commenting already discredits the lurking abilities. So I don't know. I don't know if I believe that, Craig. We got Bitcoin is not having a great day. Not yet. Again, we'll see where this thing closes. Any crazy hammer, something like that. Any real close. It would be okay if Bitcoin closes above, we'll call it 114, but 113,924 or 929. That would be okay. Be a little bit better if we could get above this 114, so 114, 169. Other than that, yeah, we really have to start getting closes back above 114, 887. However, we've been bullish. This is a pullback right into the 100. We did get down back into some support, which really has not been retested since we had that last breakout. So this is a very good support for Bitcoin. So even if we don't close higher, there's still a chance we could push higher from here. We're still just really pulling back into some support. I would see if the support wants to hold here all the way down to next spot would be 110, 196. I really don't want to see Bitcoin get down there. You have a bunch of resistance you got to start climbing through, but this is an okay, pretty healthy pullback spot. So not too bad in crypto land. We got some tickers coming in. If you guys got other tickers, let me know. We got Palantir, Coin Hood is the first ones I see. We got Palantir at really decent close, not bad. Could have went a little bit higher. You got your actual resistance up at 185.76. So not horrible. Gapping down though for today. Um, I would think that this should have been an okay resistance, 181.20. So watch that level for today. See if we get above it. If we do, I think your next target at least would take in this 183.30, but all momentum bullish. Again, one little pullback hammer. You got your gap and go right above it, and then 2 days of just nonstop feverishly buying Palantir. To the downside, again, we can use these levels. Kind of broke through all of them decisively, so I'm not sure how good of the support it's going to be to the downside, but they are still there. So watch 180.14 again, not the strongest support, but there is a little support there. I would say somewhere right around this 177.10 zone, a little bit stronger of a support, and then a full-on pullback would take us to 175.35. So we do have some room to the lower side on this one. That is two really exciting bull days for Palantir. Zero pullbacks, wide moves. Probably I would look for a little. I don't know if I would go long here. If you do get a pullback to probably I'd want to see that 175.35. Maybe that's an interesting spot for buying a couple shares of Palantir. Otherwise, again, I don't really want to short this thing. Straight crazy momentum. But if you're gonna try it, see if you get to that 183.18. I'd see how we act at that zone. The much better spot, if you make it there, would be 185.87 for a short. Then you have a nice little double top to play into and see if Palantir actually does want to break down. But kind of inside day, some support, not strong. Yeah, let's see where we could chop on this one, or let's see where some intraday moves come in. There was two others that you had there. Which ones were they? Coin and Hood. Coin base. I've been watching. I've been in it last week. I sold out on this day. A little too soon. Um, Friday, really nothing too crazy to change the story. Just an inside resting day candle. I am waiting, trying to wait for a pullback into this 327 zone. So 327.43. If we can make it there, I'm going to probably pick up a couple options. Some calls. Almost essentially the same spot. I was buying my calls a little bit lower before, but if this thing pulls back, that should be where a pretty decent support is. 327.14. all the way down to technically 321. I don't really want to see this candle get taken out. Other than that, if we pull back a little bit further, 328.57, this should be where we're opening right now, a little psychological level. So at open, I could see bulls wanting to step in, and if they don't step in very quickly, then yeah, for sure I'm waiting. Also, if they don't, or if I take a trade, I'm taking it with shares. I'm not taking it with options here. But took a lot of work to get us a closing candle above the opening price of this August 1st candle with tons and tons of volume in it. Clearly, we were just dancing now into the open fields. Not a lot of anything holding us back. So I do like it bullish. I would like to see a little bit more of a pullback first. Maybe that Bitcoin chart kind of throws a little negative sentiment in, and hopefully we get that drop first. Otherwise, this should be a decent psychological level with a retest gap. So for day trade purpose, I could see that being a fade today at open. I don't know how much room you have. Probably $6 get you up to like 341, 45 ish. Any closing above that, and you got one more next resistance, 345.74. But I think this one pulls back longer term. So whether we have a bounce and then we give it all back today, tomorrow we gap down, something like that. But I think I think in my spot, this 327, 328 zone, I think you're gonna have a lot more bulls interested in going long, waiting another day or two of resting, and then maybe it look better with those moving averages catching up. So I like it long at open for today. I'm not going to take a longer term trade yet on Coinbase. If we come down a little bit further, I'll look longer term. Otherwise, for today, I think you have to be quick. Maybe grab a 1.2, something like that on Coinbase out of the gate, if that does indeed hold as a little bit of support. Hood, fantastic close yesterday. I believe Hood and AppLovin officially, like as of today, are in the S&P. So I think today's the actual day they got moved in. Obviously, it was announced a couple of weeks ago, but um, so we'll see if this is sell the news. But you had a good push on Hood toward the end of the day. You had a good push on App. Again, market's a little manipulated by options. The reason being, these two are today now in indices, so all those funds now have to start buying Hood at higher levels. So App and Hood made a nice little push. Whether it holds today, I don't know. You are still good above support. So there's a little gap and go to the downside. Inside day candle. Watch this 123.22. And then you got to pull back into 122.70. But they're going to start getting some of the support from some of the indices also buying shares. And we'll see what happens from here. But a little bit of a gap and go. You do have some decent support. I think it'd be fun to watch. We'll see. Maybe a high wave candle again if we could get some buying that comes in. If that support wants to hold. Let's see. TEM. TEM is a nice gap up on this one. I think they had news, didn't they? Tempest AI on track for record high. TEM, that was 6 days ago. That was 2 days ago. I thought there was news on them. I don't see it. I saw something briefly though before. Regardless, nice little gap up for today. You're into all-time highs, so it could get a little tricky from here. I don't think TEM has a huge short float. Let's see, TEM. Short float is 25%. It's a lot bigger than I thought it was. It's a lot bigger than I thought it was. Okay, we'll put this one up here. I didn't want to chase this one. That 25% short float kind of makes me want to chase it. Obviously from here, I think the price goes higher. I don't think 94.69 is going to be all-time highs on Tempest. The question is, does this thing pull back with this run up? You are huge short float, squeezing every single bear possible, losing money on today, and there is a lot of them. So I would probably have to go with that momentum. If I take a stab, I'm going bullish, but let's see how that opening candle, maybe that pre-market support breakout would be something to watch as well. For TEM, I think that one looks appealing. I got no levels to the higher side though, and then probably full on retest looks like if it doesn't want to hold. But I think I'd be interested in chasing. Yeah, AMAT is a little bit of a gap and go from yesterday. Yesterday was, or Friday was more of a inside resting day candle. I still like where, and that's following a massive jump up. Otherwise, you kind of just held that support on a retest somewhere in that 190 zone. So you definitely have some bulls in this thing. I don't think there was too many really shorts coming in, but you had a good kind of resistance that you're holding. There's a lot of people profitable. I think I would treat this one more like a retest gap. You also have a little bit of resistance. So watch this resistance. This would be my first sell. I think this one pulls back. I think there's too many people bullish in this one right now, and you're getting a nice little gap up. They had to wait a full day of resting. They're getting better pricing today. But if you start breaking through 194.05, you got room up to like 198.84. So I'd wait to see what happens up there. Otherwise, on a pullback, support comes in not too far away, 192.95. That could give us a little chop. If that starts to break, you probably have a decent amount of bulls waiting to recapture this 190.49 again in a bullish direction. So we'll see on that one. Apple, AAPL. Nope, that's a little K at the end there. That was Apple, okay. Apple, nice gap. Hmm. They got another upgrade. Bush has increased its price target, so Dan Ives coming in. I thought he did. I thought he put this out there already. But he's got price target to 310. Previous was 270, so that gives us a lot of room continuing to the higher side. Another $60 from here. Apple may face IT disruptions from a new $100,000 fee. Yeah, that H1B is actually going to be I think probably impactful for Apple. Not that Apple can't afford 100K, but I think the current fee was either 1,000 or $2,000. Now you got $100,000 per employee to have them work in the U.S. That's a big deal. So far, markets prefer the upgrade rather than uh than the other story. It looks like, but yeah, good gap up. Obviously, this is a retest gap from Friday. That was a big move. Nice follow through for today. Good support that we're opening above. So it's maybe a small pullback into 247.45. I don't think I could see a full retest happening. I don't think I really want that to happen. But yeah, if we hold this 247.23, that'd be decent. Your next little resistance takes us to 249.40. And I think you got targets better resistance somewhere around 251.97 for today. So we'll see how this one wants to open, but at least a nice start to the week for Apple. Again, even if it pulls back, as long as it closes above 245.74, I think our trend is still intact where this thing you probably, if we do get a pullback, probably have some decent buyers there. So we'll see. We got Iran from Carl. Carl throwing this one out here. Obviously, crazy, tremendous run. Nice little gap for today as well. I think we're sitting at all-time highs. We are. This is also a retail favorite, so it can continue to get momentum. Let me check FinViz again on this one. Let's see the short float at all-time highs. 11%. That's still pretty decent. Not a bad short flow to it. But retest from Friday, had that run up. Be careful with this one. It can move pretty crazy. It to me looks like it wants to continue this trend. For today, besides an 11% short flow, to me, I would say this thing probably pulls back at least a little bit, but I would have targets into 39.19. I don't think this is one I would short just because I don't want to go long. I don't also have to go short. This is probably one that I'd be terrified to go short on, especially with that 11% short float. Um, to me, it probably goes higher. If this thing does not pull back and goes higher, I get it, but I'm not going to chase this one unless you get that full pullback on this one. I'll throw this one up higher on the list. Mm, we got Google, Googl. That is gapping down a little bit. That closed at all-time highs. So that was the highest close in the history of Google, which is impressive. Not bad. Gap to go to the downside, not the strongest gap to go. You're going to be approaching a little bit of support, 252.07. So again, I'm not really excited to go short on Google. With that support so close, if that support does break, you get a little bit more room. That would take it to like 249.07. Anything past, let's say 249, I think I like that short better. But for now, you're going counter trend, strong bull direction. Tough to go short on those ones. If you get down to support, maybe you're looking for a buy somewhere around 252.07. Again, with this gap down, sentiment for today, not tremendous. We are coming out of the quad witching though, so that again can affect the charts a little bit. You got 254.28, I think would be my target for today. Longer term, again, good uptrend. I think if this one gets a more significant pullback, I'm not even sure where that would be to. That could just be this 249.07. Or if we fill this gap 240, you probably have bulls at both locations on that one as well. Let's see. We've got Palantir we looked at. Apple's on the move. Yep, RKLB. And then we got some silver. RKLB. For today, nothing too crazy. Um, Still inside day candle. You're opening right around the opening price, slightly underneath the opening price from Friday. A little bit of weakness there. Other than that, you should have some support, although we've hit this now 4 times, closing most of those times above it. So not really the most directional stock, I would say, for right now. Still kind of choppy. You're also above your 20 EMA, so watch this 47, 42 if there's some support. We do have the ability to break it down. We've done it 4 times. And I think the next target where you probably have a little bit more bull sitting is about 46.21. So that would be extended targets for today. Otherwise, I kind of like it to the short side, but with the current just chop short as high as possible. Maybe you're looking for like a 47.86 to start to look, and then the closer you get into like this 48.23 would be decent. Any closing above 48.41 and maybe this consolidation, which looks to me like a little bit of bear flag at the moment. Maybe that ends up breaking higher rather than lower and just continuing the longer term trend on it. So we'll see, but it looks a little choppy. Uh, Google, we already looked at. Oh, silver. That's where we're going. Silver. Fantastic Friday for silver, closing at all-time highs, even better open. Um, Longer term picture, I think we probably hit $50 at this point. This is I mean, if we flip this into a monthly chart, uh, this looks like a decade worth of consolidation, and now you're finally getting that breakout. So I think we probably hit all-time highs eventually on silver, get in that $50 range, start breaking this 48.34 zone. To me, it does look like we want to get a little bit higher on this one in a long-term perspective. So not bad. For today, it is a retest gap. It is silver. It's up a lot considering. So see if this one wants to pull back a little bit. You got your support at 38.95. Again, kind of just chops, moves. I think be patient, wait for your price to get in on silver. If you're not in there already, if you're already in, good start to the open. Don't be too sad if it pulls back. I think that's just part of the process. Let's see. We got BMNR. BMNR. Well, crypto's down a little bit. This one's going to be related a little bit more to Ethereum, which we did not check out the Ethereum chart for today. I can't imagine it's bullish. We could actually check it out real quick. But BNMR, you got 2 wicks at the top. You're gapping down. You're in this little bit of there was a mini gap fill. We're in that one next support. If this thing pulls back, watch for right around $56. I'll put it at 55.86. So I think you have a little bit more room to the downside on this one as well if it pulls back a tad. We'll see. All right, Oxy. Let me check Ethereum real quick. Let me check where we're at with that one. Yeah, that's looking a little. That's a pretty decisive head and shoulders on Ethereum. I would also throw the neckline on this one somewhere around here. So as of today, again, we're not closed on this day's candle. In fact, we got a lot of time left on it. But if we do get a close underneath that neckline, then maybe a retest into there, and then maybe we actually get some kind of a actual pullback. It's not a good looking, not a fantastic looking chart sentiment wise though. Let's see, we've got Oxy, I think was the next one. Oxy pulling back a little bit, retest gap from Friday. We are technically still in that last breakout candle, so you get some bullish risk reward on this one if you are if you think it goes higher from here. But you're at almost the lows of the candle from September 16th. What I don't like in a bullish direction is the fact that number one, we're down here in the first place. We do have some support resistance that should have held, kind of did on Friday, somewhere around 46.06. Anybody taking a stab in a bullish direction on that one, not really crying too hard. They're not down too much if they were patient, if they got in higher. It's a little bit more painful. Otherwise, your next support on this one comes in at 45.78. Big spot on this one. We need to see closes above 45.63 for today. If you want to take a stab, even though it doesn't look good, you have a pretty blatant double top on the chart. But if you are buying it somewhere at open, I'd see if it comes back down a little bit further. And then I would throw my stop maybe underneath 45.50 for a swing, where if this could hold this support that we're kind of holding into, great. You have good risk reward. That's probably the only reason I would play this one, but you either lose an R or have plenty of room back up to the higher side for probably eyeballing it. Looks like three R's. Otherwise, you do have this double top. That is going to be a little bit of an issue on it. And you are starting to get below that 20 EMA as well. So it looks like it's struggling, but I can make a case for at least a good risk reward on it. Other news, Oracle, ORCL. We have reports, although we have not seen the details on the report, but apparently Oracle did close the deal on TikTok. There was also some other names in there too. I think the most unexpected name was probably Fox, which is getting a bigger boost, but you are getting a little jump up, I think, on the Oracle news. Watch for resistance on Oracle, somewhere around 311.99. See if we could get some candles that close above it to go long. Otherwise, you're kind of close to it. I don't even know what the Fox ticker symbol is. Just Fox? Yep, just Fox. So they were included in the deal as well. So good little bump on this one for today, getting past some significant support resistance. I'd say somewhere around 55.31 if we get a pullback there. It could be an interesting buy spot if the news circulates a little bit more. Other than that, you guys on YouTube land, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button if you've not done so already. You guys are incredible. We'll see what happens today, and I will catch you guys tomorrow.